At a personal level, I am a returnee, though I've lived in Europe for some time. So coming back to Kenya, alongside other returnees, I did realize the kind of difficulties that we face, unique difficulties that we face as women on our return and our reintegration, especially because of our family setting and being women and sometimes coming back with children. I could also add that in the past 10 years, so many girls, Kenyan girls, have been moving out of the country and back, and it's as if society has not been prepared for this. So we've had several difficulties in economic reintegration, social, and even cultural. So that's why I wanted to be in this project. When you're a returnee, especially from a more developed country, is that you come back with a lot of money. And so when you come back and you're trying to resettle back, it's also difficult to get back into the system and to just continue with your life. Sometimes also struggling with the readjustment. Things may have changed while you are away, and there's no policy or government plan in place where you can go and get updated about what changed while you are away. So it's difficult also sometimes with the children, and you may have had children with a father who is not from your country, and some of the laws still do not allow women in a very good way to give identity, including cultural identity, but also passport or birth certificates to women. So it's been a struggle going through these things and trying to reintegrate back into our societies back home. Our societies are very patriarchal, and for women, you are expected to get married and belong to the side of your husband. But now, when you are a returnee, it's almost as if you have no place. So you try to go back home, and it's very clear that you are not part of the inheritance, you are not considered as if you're supposed to belong here. And it has also brought conflicts with my family sometimes, because they think, why are you here and not somewhere else? Because for most of the cultural settings, there's really no place for a grown-up woman back in her home. So that has made my life extra hard, despite Kenya having a constitution in 2010 which grants both men and women similar rights. Because of long cultures that discriminated women, a lot of people have not changed into this perception that women also have inheritance rights. Women can also give their surnames to their children. Women can also give their nationalities to their children. It's always assumed that because you're a woman, you should get your economic, social, cultural identity from another male, either your father, then your husband. So this has been a very painful hurdle, and I've felt it at a personal level and also with the returnees that I've been working with. For this project with UNECA and African Union, we were focusing on returnees from Gulf countries. For this group of women, they have extra challenges, if I could say, compared to myself, because for the most part, many are low to middle economic class. And so many of them, by the time they were leaving to the Gulf, they already had problems with getting jobs, low education, and then coming back and also trying to reintegrate back into society, a society that is not ready for them. And if I may add, also the kinds of work that they've been going to do in the Gulf countries, they also experience really extreme human rights violations, overwork. Many of them, some come back dead. Many of them come back, they've been sexually abused. Some come back with children, with more occupational, like back pain, trauma. And then they also come back to a culture and a policy framework that is not ready for women returnees. If I may add, for the most part since independence, men have been at the forefront of traveling, and for the most part, women had been traveling as partners, but now women are traveling independently. And this is now exposing more women to more problems, and then by the time they come back, all the problems they had while going. Some don't even get paid, and then they come back. They try to integrate, and it becomes like a mixed ball of problems. The Kenya government has been responding to the problems that women migrants have been having. So if I may add, if you look at the literature, it's just in the past 10 years that the number of international migrants, especially women, has increased by triple. So this is something that has been happening really fast, and government has also been working really fast. I would wish to see that this issue gets policy attention and also cultural sensitivity, because if we look at our history since the end of the Second World War, more and more international migrants, and also Kenya, if you look at the statistics, even more than half of the international migrants are women, and this is an issue that is likely to continue. So this is a really good stage for the government and the society also to get sensitized about the realities of what women migrants go through, and then they can have a positive attitude towards accepting migrants back into their community and reintegrating them, because as people will continue going and coming back, it could end up being like a really negative social issue, which will undermine the good sides that international migration can bring, including chances to work and send back remittances and take their children back to school, buy land, do a lot of things with the money. So we have to find a way to increase the positives of international migration, especially labor migration, and decrease the negative consequences. And the sooner we do it, the better. So my advice is there are positive stories and there are negative stories. But for the most part, the ones that end up with the negative experiences sometimes end up with the wrong agencies, do not have the correct information, do not know exactly what they are getting into. Maybe they have extremely high expectations of what they are going to get paid. But I think for the ones who had a strategy, and they have a strategy knowing they are going to have a 2-year contract in a Gulf country and then come back and do something with the money, I would advise that somebody prepares well, gets to learn about the country they are going to, talk to people who've been there, visit the embassy if it's possible, the Ministry of Labor, and travel while informed. And try as much as possible not to use fake passports or try to go to be smuggled. Go through the correct channel, register with the Kenyan embassy, and in that way, always keep an identification with you. Even if your passport gets lost, have an ID, register with Kenyan embassies abroad, and in that way, should anything go wrong, you can get help and come back to your country. Above all, know that you've gone to work and do not misuse your money. Use it wisely, open a bank account, save it there, come back and invest, go to school, take your children to school, buy some property, start a business, or just push your life forward, and then you'll have the best out of this labor migration experience.